So in this chapter, we are going to discuss about the temple architecture and its sculpture in India, and especially like in the first one-fourth of this chapter, we will understand about the general features of temple architecture. Okay, temples generally belong to the Hindu sect, so we will understand about the general features of the temples. Like in India, we will learn about like what are the different features of temple, and then we will learn about the Nagara style of temple architecture. So Nagara style of temple architecture is there in the northern part of India, and here we will understand about the type of temple architecture in central India and then West India. Then we will learn about the type of temple architecture in the East India, and after we have finished this, we will learn about the temple architecture in the hilly regions also. Okay, so all of these things will comprise of the Nagara style of temple architecture. So today we are going to finish only the Nagara style of temple architecture. Tomorrow we will have one more session where we are going to discuss about the Dravida, style of temple architecture. So Dravida style of temple architecture is generally in the southern portion of India. So let us start the chapter. Okay, so it will be a book reading session. So we are going to read the chapter as it is. Okay, then we will try to extract information from this chapter. Okay, so temple architecture and sculpture. Okay, so today when we say the temple in English, we generally mean Devalaya or Devluka, Mandir, Kovil, Deol, okay, like Devasthanam or Prasada, depending on which part of India we are in, okay. So this is the meaning of temple. So in English, we pronounce these as temples, but like they have different names in Hindi, Sanskrit, and other parts of India. So they are also known as Devalaya. They are known as Devkula, Mandir, okay, Kovil, Deol, and Devasthanam. So these are the names of temples, right, in various parts of the country. And apart from this, like most of the art and architectural remains that survive from ancient and medieval India are religious in nature. That does not mean that people did not have an art in their homes at those times. But domestic dwellings and the things in them were mostly made from the materials like wood and clay, which have perished. This chapter introduces us to many types of temples from India. Although we have focused mostly on Hindu temples, at the end of the chapter, you will find some information on major Buddhist and Jain temples also. Okay, so in this chapter, we are going to come across Hindu temples, Buddhist temples, as well as Jain temples in this chapter. However, at all times, we must keep in mind that religious shrines were also made for many local cults in villages and forest areas, but again, not being of stone um, not being of stone, the ancient or medieval shrines in those areas have also vanished. Okay, so now let us see this particular image, which is there on the right side of the screen. This image talks about the Chaturmukhlinga. Okay, it is a Nach Kuthara. Okay, inset. So like Chaturmukhlinga. So this particular image is of Chaturmukhlinga. What do we mean by this? So Chaturmukh means a person having four faces. Okay, so here we can see like three faces can be seen, like one face in the front, other face on the right side, other face on the left side. There may be a face like on the top or below it. Okay, so before this, like we had already come across similar form of sculpture where like it had five faces. Okay, four faces in all the four directions, and fifth face was on the top of it. Okay, so like here, this is Chaturmukhlinga they're talking about. So this is a temple where we had Chaturmukhlinga inside this temple. So this is at Shiva temple. Okay, at Nachna Kuthara, Madhya Pradesh, and it belongs to the 5th century. Okay, it belongs to the 5th century CE, Common Era. So let us learn about the early temples. Okay, while construction of stupas continued, Brahminical temples and images of gods also started getting constructed. Often temples were decorated with images of gods. Myths mentioned in the Puranas became part of the narrative representation of the Brahminical religion. Each temple had a principal image of God. The shrines of the temples were three kinds. Okay, so when we are talking about the shrines of the temples, They were of three kinds. What are the kinds of the Shirins? So these are the kinds. One is Sandhara type, okay. Then second is Nirandhara type, and the third is known as Sarbota Bhadra type. Okay, so Sandhara type, Nirandhara type, and Sarbota Bhadra type. So we are going to learn about them. Okay, so Sandhara type means without Pradakshina Path. Okay, so these are the type of temple Shirins that do not have Pradakshina Path. Okay, Sandhara type. Then Nirandhara type with Pradakshina Path. Okay, so it seems that NCERT has made a mistake over here. Sandhara means having Pradakshina Path. Nirandhara means not having Pradakshina Path. Okay, and third is Sarbotra Bhadra. Okay, Sarbotra Bhadra. uh, Sarvato Bhadra, okay, which can be accessed from all sides. Okay, this is a kind of temple architecture that can be accessed from all sides. So here we need to just keep in mind that here Sandhara type they have mentioned is Pradakshina, having Pradakshina path, but like this is uh, this is actually having Pradakshina path. Here they have mentioned without Pradakshina path. Okay, this is the thing. Now some of the important temple sites of this period are Deoghar in Uttar Pradesh, Iran, Nachakathua and Udayagiri near Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh. These temples are simple structures consisting of a veranda, a hall, and a shireen at the rear. Okay, the basic form of the Hindu temple. If you talk about the basic form of the Hindu temple, so the basic form of the Hindu temple comprises the following. Okay, it comprises a sanctum, okay, which is also known as Garbha Griha. It literally means womb house. This is the central place inside a temple where the main deity is located. Okay, which was a small cubicle with a single entrance and grew into a larger chamber in time. The Garbha Griha is made. Okay, the Garbha Griha is made to house the main icon, which is itself the focus of much ritual attention. The entrance to the temple, which may be a portico or uh, colonnaded hall that incorporates a space for a larger number of worshippers and is known as mandapa. Okay, so if we talk about basic form of Hindu temple, so it has one of the thing which is known as sanctum. Okay, sanctorum, or simply sanctum. Second thing is known as mandapa. Third thing is known as, third thing is freestanding temples tend to have a mountain-like spire which can take the shape of curvilinear shikhara. Okay, curvilinear shikhar in North India, and pyramidal tower. Okay, pyramidal tower called Vimana in South India. Okay, so the thing is, shikhar is the name which is given to the like mountain like spire type of shape in the northern India. And if we talk about in the southern India, we do have Vimana type. Okay, we do have Vimana. And fourth portion over here, the Vahan. Okay, Vahan. This is the mount or vehicle of the temple's main deity, along with the standard pillar. Okay, standard pillar is also known as Dhwaj. Okay, and Vahan means like Vahan is the thing on which the main deity is seated. Sometimes it is shown that main deity is traveling on a kind of chariot, so that is known as Vahan. Then two broad orders of the temple in the country are known: Nagara in the north and Dravida in the south. Okay, so we do have two broad orders or two broad types of temples in India. In the northern India, it is known as Nagara type. In the southern India, it is known as Dravida type of this thing. At times, the Vesara style of temple as an independent style created through the selective mixing of Nagara and Dravida order is mentioned in some scholars. Okay, so the thing is, there is another style which is known as Vesara style. Okay, it is like selective mixture of Dravida and Nagara orders. Okay, so basically we have three forms of temple architecture. In the northern India, we have Nagara type of temple architecture. In the southern India, we do have Dravida style of temple architecture. And like apart from this, we do have one more type which is known as Vesar style or Vesara style, which has a selective mixture of Nagara and Dravida type. Okay. Elaborate studies are available on the various subtypes within these orders. We will look into the differences in the forms further on this chapter. As temples grew more complex, more surfaces were created for sculpture through additive geometry. By adding more and more rhythmically projecting symmetrical walls and niches without breaking away from the fundamental plan of the Shireen. Okay. Now, here to the left of this particular screen, image of a temple is given. So it is a Nagara style of temple architecture. When we come across this word Nagara, it means like this type of temple architecture is there in the northern portion of India. Okay, northern portion including the central India, western India, eastern India, as well as hilly regions in India. Okay, in the northern areas. So this is Nagara style of temple architecture. So in the Nagara style, we do have a Garbhagriha over here. Garbhagriha is the house, is the small house within the temple complex where the main deity or main deity is seated. And apart from this, we do have Shikhara. Okay, this is Shikhara. This is like a mountain-like structure. Okay, which is spiking upward. So it is known as Shikhara in northern India. Okay, in Dravida style, it is known as Vimana. Okay, in Nagara style, it is known as Shikhara. Then on the top of Shikhara, we have something which is known as Amlaka. Okay, Amlaka. Okay, this is Amlaka. So it is just on the top of Shikhara. It is like an umbrella shape, but like it is in circular form. Okay, so it is in circular form. On the top of Amlaka, we do have Kalash. Okay, Kalash is at the top. Okay, at the top of this thing. So if we discuss the basic feature of the Nagara style of temple architecture, so here we have Garbhagriha, we have Shikhara, then we have Amlaka, and we have Kalash. Okay, these are the things. Now, okay, let us read the last paragraph over here. Elaborate studies are available on the various sub styles within these orders. We will look into the differences in these forms further in this chapter. As temples grew more complex, more surfaces were created for sculpture through additive geometry. By adding more and more rhythmically projecting like symmetrical walls and niches without breaking away from the fundamental plan of the Shireen. Okay, so this is this is an image that we had discussed now. Now let us talk about sculpture, iconography, and ornamentation in the temples. Okay, we will talk about sculpture, iconography, and ornamentation within the temples. Okay, so the study of the images of deities fall within a branch of art history called iconography. Okay, so this is the thing, study of images of deities. Okay, this is known as iconography. What do we mean by iconography? It is the study of images of the deities. Okay, so this falls under the branch of history called as iconography, which consists of identification of images based on certain symbols and mythologies associated with them. And very often, while the fundamental myth and meaning of the deity may remain the same for centuries, its specific usage at a spot can be a response to its local and immediate social, political, or geographical context. Okay. So in this temple architecture that we have discussed, this particular image over here, we do have another thing in the structure which is known as pitha. Okay, pitha is the it is the staircase that is leading to the main temple. Okay, so pitha is the staircase, okay, which is leading to the main temple. Okay, then every religion and period produced its own distinct style of images with its regional variations in iconography. The temple is covered with elaborate sculpture and ornament that form a fundamental part of its conception. The placement of an image in a temple is carefully planned. Okay, for instance, river goddesses like Ganga and Yamuna, are usually found at the entrance of the Garbhagriha in Nagara temple. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, so river goddesses like Ganga and Yamuna are usually found at the entrance of the Garbhagriha in Nagara temple. Then we do have Dwarpalas, or they are also known as doorkeepers, are usually found on the gateways or gopurams of Dravida temples. Okay, so here if we talk about gateways of Dravida temple, we find Dwarpalas. Okay, Dwarpalas or doorkeepers are usually found on the gateways or gopurams of the Dravida temple. Similarly, Mithunas. Okay, Mithunas are erotic images. Okay, similarly Mithunas. Okay, then we have Navagrahas. Okay, Navagrahas means the 9 auspicious planets. Okay, Navagraha, like 9 auspicious planets. The yakshas are also placed at the entrance to guard them. Okay, they are also placed at the entrance to guard them. So what are the things that we came across over here? River goddess, they are Ganga and Yamuna. They are found at the entrance of the Garbhagriha in the Nagara temple. Then Dwarpala, they are the doorkeepers. They are usually found on the gateways or gopurams of the Dravida temples. Similarly, Mithunas, they are erotic images where a couple is shown together. Okay, a couple is shown together in some romantic romantic posture, that is known as erotic image. Okay, then we have Navagrahas, they are the 9 auspicious planets. Then Yakshas are also placed at the entrance to guard them. Okay, various forms or aspects of the main divinity are to be found on the outer wall of the sanctum. The deities of the direction, that is Ashtadhik Pals, okay, face the 8 key. Okay, so just a minute. Okay, so the thing is, the deities of the directions, the Ashtadhik Pals face the 8 key directions on the outer walls of the sanctum and or on the outer walls of the temple. Subsidiary shrines around the main temple are dedicated to the family or incarnations of the main deity. Finally, various elements or ornamentation of such okay, sorry. So I just got a call. Okay, so that's why there was an interruption. So we will continue. So we were discussing finally various elements of ornamentation such as Gavaksha or Vyala or Yali, okay, Kalpatala, Amlaka, Kalasha, etc. are used in distinct ways in and places in a temple. Okay, so like we do have some other forms also, other things associated with the temple. They are, they are known as Gavaksha, Vyala or Yali, Kalpalata, Amlaka, and Kalasha. They are also used in the temples. Kalasha we have recently seen. We have seen the Amlaka also. Okay, we will see the Gavaksha and Kalpalata, etc. Later on in this chapter. Okay. So now let us discuss. So till now we have discussed about the broad features of the temple architecture in India. Now we are going to discuss about the Nagara or the North Indian temples. Okay, we are going to discuss about Nagara style of temple architecture. This is the main part of the discussion for the day. Okay, so the style of temple architecture that became popular in northern India are known as Nagara. In northern India, it is common for an entire temple to be built on a stone platform with the steps leading up to it. Further, unlike in the South India, it does not usually have elaborate boundary walls or gateways. It is very important. Okay, so the thing is, we do not have elaborate, gateways or boundaries in the northern, temples in the northern India. We may have elaborate thing like elaborate gateways or boundaries in the southern India. While the earliest temples had just one tower, okay, while the earliest temples had just one tower or shikhara, later temples had several. Okay, so earliest temple had only one tower or shikhara, but later temples had several towers. Okay, the Garbhagriha is always directly under the tallest tower. Okay, so the Garbhagriha is always located directly under the tallest tower. There are many subdivisions of Nagara temples depending on the shape of Shikhara. Uh, there are different names for various parts of the temples in different parts, different parts of India. However, the most common name of the simple Shikhara, which is square at the base and those walls curved or slope inward to a point on top, is called Latina. Okay, they are known as Latina or Rekha Prasad. Okay, Rekha Prasad type of thing. So the thing is, when we talk about the Nagara style of temple architecture, when we are discussing the the main tower over here, okay, Shikhara. So the main Shikhara can be of various types. There may be subtypes of the Shikhara. Okay. So the thing is, based on those subtypes, they may be classified using different names. So one of that, subtype of the Shikhara, is known as Latina or Rekha Prasad type of Shikhara. Okay. So the thing is, they have given an example over here. So I'm not saying like it is a Latina or Rekha Prasad type of structure. But the thing is, it is a temple architecture of the Nagara style of temple. Okay. It is Sun Temple at Konark. It is Konark Sun Temple, and this year 2019 it was in news. Okay, because the Archaeological Survey of India had started some restoration work over there. Okay, like some water had entered into the temple premises. So like that's why this was in news. Okay, Konark Sun Temple. So now we were discussing that the most common name for the simple shikhara, which is square at the base. Okay, so a simple shikhar which is square at the base and whose walls curve or slope inward to a point on the top is called Latina or Rekha Prasad. Okay, so if we see the image that we had seen earlier, so if we talk about this particular image, see the left side of this particular page. So if we talk about the main, if we talk about the tallest shikhar over here, the tallest shikhar, like it has a square base, right? And then it is, pointing upward, but as we move up, right? What is happening? The radius is decreasing. Okay, radius is decreasing. So it is pointing upward, but like, its radius is gradually decreasing. This is known as Rekha Prasad or Latina style of shikhara. Okay, this is known as Rekha Prasad or Latina style of shikhara. Similarly, we will talk about other types of shikhara also. The second major type of architectural form in the Nagara order is Famsana. Okay, so like we will talk about like second major type of architectural form in the Nagara style is Famsana. So Famsana buildings tend to be broader and shorter than the Latina ones. Okay, Famsana buildings tend to be broader and shorter than the Latina ones. So this one, if we talk about this particular image, Konark Sun Temple, it seems to be a Famsana style of temple architecture. Why? Because like it is broader as compared to the above image that we have seen, and at the same time it is shorter as compared to the above image that we have seen. Okay, so it may be considered to be a Famsana style, like based on our understanding of reading this chapter till now. Okay, so Famsana buildings tend to be broader and shorter than Latina ones. Their roofs are composed of several slabs and gently rise to a single point over the center of the building. Unlike Latina ones, which look like sharply rising tall towers, Famsana roofs do not curve inwards. Instead, they slope upwards on a straight incline. Okay, so it is an important thing that the Famsana roofs do not curve inward. Instead, they slope upward on a straight incline. In many North Indian temples, you will notice that the Famsana design is used for the mandapas, while the main Garbhagriha is housed in the Latina building. Okay, so here in many North Indian temples, you will notice that the Famsana design is used for the mandapas. Okay, Famsana design is used for the mandapas, where like many worshippers, many people who pray in the temple, they can be seated together. Okay, and at the same time, if we talk about Garbhagriha, Garbhagriha is housed in a Latina building. Okay, Garbhagriha means where main deity is there, so that is made the tallest ones. Like this is the general feature of temple architecture in the North India. Okay, later on the Latina buildings grew complex. Later on, the Latina buildings grew complex, and instead of appearing like a single tall tower, the temple began to support many smaller towers, which were clustered together like rising mountain peaks, with the tallest one being in the center. And this was the one which was always above the Garbhagriha. Okay, so this is I'll read this particular paragraph again for you. Later on, Latina buildings grew complex. Okay, Latina means the buildings that has the shikhara, very tall shikhar. Okay, that is pointing to towards a single point as we move. As we move above, it is a mountain-like structure that we discussed. So later on, the Latina buildings grew complex, and instead of appearing like a single tall tower, the temple began to support many smaller towers, which were clustered together like rising mountain peaks, with the tallest one being in the center. And this was the one which was always above the Garbhagriha. Okay. The third main subtype of Nagara building is that generally called as Pallavi type. Okay, so we do have another type of Nagara style of temple architecture which is known as Pallavi type. So we are going to discuss this one. These are rectangular buildings with a roof that rises into a vaulted chamber. Okay, so the thing is, these are rectangular buildings with a roof that rises into a vaulted chamber. Now we need to understand. So are you seeing this particular thing? So this is a, you know, rectangular building over here. Okay, so this particular rectangular building is there, but like if we move towards the roof, so it has a vaulted chamber. Vaulted chamber means like here, like, you know, we can store something. It seems like we can store something. So, you know, like so some space is there at the top, so which seems like a vaulted chamber. Vaulted chamber, this is known as Vallabhi type. Okay, we you can just connect Vallabhi type vaulted chamber. Okay, here the edge of this vaulted chamber is rounded. Okay, like the womb or like the bamboo or wooden wagons that would have been drawn by the bullocks in ancient times. They are usually called wagon vaulted buildings. Okay, they are known as wagon vaulted buildings. As mentioned above, the form of the temple is influenced by ancient building forms that were already in existence before the 5th century Common Era. The Vallabhi type of building was one of them. For instance, if you study the ground plan of many of the Buddhist rock cut Chaitya caves, you will notice that they are shaped as long halls which end in a curved back. Okay, from the inside, the roof of this portion also looks like a wagon or vaulted roof. Okay, so let us see these two images. This is one of the image of our temple architecture. Here we can see this particular temple. Okay, this particular temple seems to be a rectangular, or like it seems to be a square type of temple. And if you see the roof of this particular temple, the roof is not that long, like, you know, it is not that long, and like the roof itself is a broad base, so it is a broad base. And to the right of this particular image, there is an image which is known as Sheshashayana Vishnu. Okay, it is there at Dashaptar temple at Deogar. Okay, Sheshashayana. Sheshashayana means like Vishnu is sleeping over here. Okay, and like here, you know, so this Sheshnag is there. Okay, Sheshnag. So like he's sleeping on the snake. So it is shown like he's sleeping on the snake, and his snake is protecting Vishnu. Okay, it is Sheshayana Vishnu. Okay, at Dashapta temple at Deogar. Okay, and here it seems like all the mother goddesses, okay, are you know, blessing Vishnu. It seems. Okay, and some of the people are even, you know, like even like serving Vishnu, like, you know. So this particular image can be seen. Now let us move forward. Okay, so now we will talk about the central Indian Nagara style of temple architecture. We are discussing about Nagara style of temple architecture, that too in central India. When we talk about central India, basically like we will discuss about you know, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and many states. Not Uttar Pradesh, you know, like we will talk about type of temple architecture mainly in the central India, like Madhya Pradesh. So they do have some, you know, some influence. These structures in the central India has some influence from the ancient styles of temple architecture from Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan. Okay, so this is the thing. So we will read about the central, you know, type of temple architecture in central India, and then we will come to the West India. So now let us read this this, you know, paragraph over here. So the ancient temples of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan share many traits. Okay, they share many characteristics. The most visible is that they are made of sandstone. Some of the oldest surviving structural temples from the Gupta period are in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so some of the oldest surviving structural temples from the Gupta period are in Madhya Pradesh. These are relatively modest looking shrines, like each having 4 pillars. Okay, each having 4 pillars that support a small mandapa, which looks like a simple square porch like extension before an equally small room that served as the garbhagriha. Okay, importantly, one of the 2 such temples that survived, one is at Udaygiri. Okay, only 2 such temples are surviving. One is at Udaygiri. Okay, which is on the outskirts of Vidisha and is part of a larger Hindu complex of cave Shirins. Okay, this is like one, and while the other is at Sanchi near the stupa. Okay, other one is at Sanchi near the stupa. So these are the things. These are the two locations where we find, you know, the temple architectures of central India. Okay, so these are the two prominent temple architectures that seems to be belonging to the, you know, this Gupta era period. Okay, so they are similar to the Gupta era period. So this is the first temple having a flat roof. This means that the similar developments were being incorporated in the architecture of temples of both religions. Deogarh in Lalitpur district in Uttar Pradesh was built in early 6th century Common Era, that is about 100 years or so after the temples we just learned about in Sanchi and Udaygiri. This makes it a classical example of the late Gupta type of temples. Okay, so this makes you know, this makes it a classic example of the late Gupta period type of temple. Okay, where at Deogarh, okay, in Lalitpur district in Uttar Pradesh, this temple is in the Panchayatna style of architecture. Okay, so it is an important keyword over here. Okay, Panchayatna style of temple architecture, where the main Shirin is built on a rectangular plinth with four smaller subsidiary Shirins at the four corners, making it a total number of 5 Shirins. Hence the name Panchayatna. Panchayatna means here, like, you know, main Shirin is there at the center, then there are 4 subsidiary Shirins. Okay, so like there are 5 Shirins effectively. Main Shirins is located at the center, and 4 you know, smaller Shirins are located on the 4 sides. So it is known as Panchayatna style of temple architecture. And the tall and the curvilinear shikhara is also corroborates this day. You know, also corroborates this day. The presence of this curving Latina or Rekha Prasad type is of shikhara also makes it clear that this is an early example of a classical Nagara style of temple. Okay, so the thing is, this is an early example of the classical Nagara style of temple architecture. So Nagara style of temple architecture, like if we talk about the late Gupta period type of temple, so it is like, you know, built in Panchayatna style of temple architecture, where we have 5 shikharas. The tallest one is at the center, then we do have 4 subsidiary shirins. Okay, so like this is, you know, this is like we are discussing about the type of Nagara style of temple architecture in central India. So now let us discuss about what do we mean by Shesh Shayana. Okay, we will discuss about Shesh Shayana. We will talk about, you know, Nar Narayan, then we'll discuss about Gajendra Moksha. These are the important keywords that are mentioned, and actually, like, we should focus on these important keywords. So let us discuss about these keywords. When we discuss about Shesh Shayana, okay, Shesh Shayana is the form of Vishnu. Okay, is the form of Vishnu where he is shown reclining on the Shesh Naga called Ananta. Okay, he is reclining on the Shesh Naga and he is known as Anant. Then we have Nar Narayan. Okay, Nar Narayan shows the discussion between the human soul and the eternal divine. Okay, Nar Narayan shows the discussion between the human soul and eternal, divine. Then we have Gajendra Moksha. Gajendra Moksha is the study of achieving moksha, symbolically communicated by Vishnu's suppression of an asura who had taken the form of an elephant. Now, when we discuss about Gajendra Moksha, it is the story of achieving moksha. Okay, where, you know, like Vishnu has suppressed, Vishnu has suppressed an asura. Asura means a rakshas. Okay, who had taken the form of form of an elephant. It is known as Gajendra Moksha. Okay, Gajendra means like an elephant. Moksha means like, you know, like here Vishnu has helped that Gajendra or that elephant in achieving salvation. Okay, it is Gajendra Moksha. So Shesh Shayana we understood, Nar Narayan we understood, Gajendra Moksha also we understood. Okay, so this west facing temple has a grand doorway with a standing sculpture of female figures representing the Ganga on the left side and Yamuna on the right side. The temple depicts Vishnu in various forms, due to which it was assumed that the 4 subsidiary Shirins must also have housed Vishnu's avatars, and the temple was mistaken for a Dashavatar temple. Okay, so the thing is, when we discuss about, when we discuss about Panchayatna type of temple architecture, so like, people had confused that Panchayatna style of temple architecture with Dashavatar type of temple architecture. Okay, so this is all. The discussion is going to get ended within like within 10 to 15 minutes. No, within 1 minute. If it gets discontinued, so we can join again. Okay.